Hello everyone and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our May 13th, 2024 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including James Gunn inviting Superman comic book creators to the set of Superman, the upcoming film. We're going to be talking about the lazy Superman memes that have been doing the rounds across the internet. And we're also going to be doing our costume analysis this time around, doing Christopher Reeve's costume. We've got This Week in History, if Michael Bailey ever shows up. He's having technical problems. As you can see, Michael is not sitting in the dark with the number one on his chest. It is just a placeholder. We're waiting for him. He was here a little bit earlier, but we do have our good friend, Mark Lax. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Very good, Steve. How you doing?
Doing well, yes. We hope Michael Bailey will be able to join us shortly. He's having a few technical issues. We'll get that sorted out shortly. But in the meantime, this, our May 13th, 2024 show is thankfully sponsored by our champion sponsors, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. We appreciate their support, helping sponsor this show, keeping us alive. So thank you to those fine folks for doing that. And if you want to get involved in tonight's show, because Michael is not here doing it at the moment for me, I'm going to let you know that you can press the Call Now button that you will find at the supermanhomepage.com/live page, or you can use the QR code right there in the middle of your screen where it says Scan Me. Use your phone, dial into that address. You'll be put in the green room where you'll be able to watch the show and hear everything that's going on until we bring you in. Hopefully we'll get time in the second half hour of tonight's program to do that. So if you would like to, that's a way you can get involved in tonight's show. Otherwise, you can participate in the comments back on YouTube and on Facebook. In our Facebook group at the moment, you can participate in the comments there, and us hosts will be able to keep an eye on everything you're saying and asking, and we'll be able to answer any questions or comments that you might have. But so yeah, feel free to do that. But as I said, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray are our sponsors. And if you want to join those fine folks and sponsor our show and sponsor the website, you can simply head to supermanhomepage.com. You can do it on YouTube right there. There's a little Join Now button. All you have to do is click that. There are different levels of memberships with different levels of perks. Or you can go to patreon.com/supermanhomepage and choose from the membership options there. Even if you don't really want to become a sponsor, we'd love to get a tip from you. Buy us a coffee, $5 a month kind of thing. There are different levels of membership that we'll do there. And, we might give a shout out to someone who does buy us a coffee and give us a $5 donation. And I'll sip my coffee there for you while we're doing the show. So if you want to do that, that's a great idea as well. But give us a thumbs up and a like right now if you're watching. We love our live viewers who are spending this next hour with us. So thank you for your time this evening. How have you been, Mark? What's happening in the world of Mark Lax?
Not much is happening in the world of Mark Lax, but I've been working and
keeping an eye on what's going on in the world of Superman.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. That I keep up every day. Yes.
Well, we will get Michael on shortly. As I said, he's having a few technical issues, but we will push on. As I say, the show must go on. And I want to start off the top by getting onto the movie side of things like we usually do. And as I said, James Gunn, here comes Michael right now. Let's get him on, and I will assign him as guest one. Let's hope his video... There he is. Hey, Michael.
Hey.
Bit of a lag. Michael, hello. Can't hear him now.
Wow.
Audio, Michael. We need your audio on. Let's hope he gets those sorted out. But let's. There he is. Yep. Can you
hear me now?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Okay. If my proper camera was working, I'd be a lot better.
Technical issues. It's the gremlins in the system. It's always the way.
Yeah. So.
All good.
I may during the break try on another computer, but we're just going to have to stick with this for right now. I apologize.
No problem. Sounds all right. So let's move on and have a look at James Gunn inviting some of the comic book creators to the Superman set in Atlanta, Georgia. There is the photo there. Some awesome people there. If you're wondering who these fine folks are, well, you've got on the front row, you've got Frank Quitely and Jim Lee with James Gunn. You've got Angelo Exaros, Kevin Maguire, Carrie Williams, Scott Snyder, Josh Williamson, John Ostrander, and Anne DePies in the middle row. Then you've got Jerry Ordway, Christina Merkler, Cameron Merkler, Dan Jurgens, and Jason Aaron in the back row. Not all those names that I recognise, but Michael, you probably do.
Yeah, most of them. I also kind of recognize that this is the crazy thing. This probably happened last week or the week before last, because James Gunn and not Josh Ostrander, John Ostrander, posed for James Gunn posted a picture of him and Josh. I'm saying it again, John Ostrander, wearing the same outfit, and that was posted on the 30th.
Okay.
So this was probably taken before that, which makes me mad because, well, not mad. This is like literally 10 minutes from where I am right now. That's a studio in Fayetteville. I'm willing to bet because the looking at the buildings in the background, I've driven past the studio on a couple different occasions. Not like lately. I'm not like stalking the studio, so please do not send the authorities to my house. But no, I was really excited to see this, especially with Jerry and Dan in the back. Jason Aaron, did that 3-issue series earlier. Joshua Williamson is doing a fantastic run Superman right now, and that's a really good collection of creators getting invited to the set.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Now, these people are under contract or have signed non-disclosure agreements and can't say anything. I've reached out to a couple of them, and one of them, I will say, somebody that we highly admire, and I can't say anything more than that because this was told to me in secrecy. It's like, off the record. I asked for their opinion on the costume, and they said, look, I can't say anything because I'm under contract, but they said, I'm thrilled. And this person said, believe me, I wish I could talk about it now. If I could, I'd have a lot of extremely good things to say. So I'll leave it to your imagination to guess which one of those people that was, but I can't disclose who that was. But if one of these people is saying that, then that gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, the very fact that they're having all of these people on set, I don't remember during any of the previous, like Man of Steel or Batman v Superman or Justice League, seeing any of the creators on set. So if they're having them on set, pretty much an indication, one, that they're drawing from a pretty wide pool of Superman books for inspiration, and two, that they're really driving home the connection between the movies and the comics, which the previous films didn't.
Yeah. Mark, what did you think when you saw this photo?
Oh, I trust almost every one of those people that I know with the character. And if they're around in the studio and James Gunn's got them together, it makes me hopeful for what we're going to get.
Now, some of the comments that I've seen in relation to who wasn't in the photo made all these remarks about, conspiracy theories like, why wasn't such and such invited or why isn't such and such there? The fact is that not everybody who works or has worked on Superman and is an important figure in the comic book creation world lives in the US or is available within an hour or, be able to get there because they're busy. That it's like, it's not always possible for these people. So they may have been invited, but the fact is that they probably were unavailable or live in another country.
Yeah.
I mean, Go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, first of all, you can't go down the list of every single person who's written and drawn Superman who's still alive and call them. And yeah, not everybody's available. I mean, people are going to see what they want to see.
Yeah, I'm shocked that there are conspiracy theories about this set visit. Shocked, I tell you, shocked. No, it's just my wife keeps bugging me to see if I could somehow get on the set. I'm never going to. So, but it's just killing me that it's so close. It is literally so close.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, they have done set visits to other Superman movies before. I mean, I was invited to the set of Superman Returns when it was filmed here in Sydney, amongst other people from around the world that did, fan sites and news sites. So, they just have to know that we're available. I'm sure they may do some media invitations, and then they obviously have to sign a non-disclosure agreement that you're not allowed to speak about it until an embargo date. So, all we have to do is try to get an email out or a message out to James Gunn. I'm sure he's aware of the website. So, they wouldn't even have to put you up if, they're getting people in from all over the world and
yeah,
putting them
no,
into hotels. I mean, that's what I told them here in Sydney. I said, hey, you don't even have to, don't put me in a hotel room. I'll just come from my own house. I'm fine with that.
yeah. I literally, if you leave my house, if they're and I think they're, like I said, the buildings look similar. If you leave my house, you go down to the street, which dumps you onto a highway. You turn right, you go 2 lights, you turn left, and like a mile up the road, there's the studio. It's like Fayette County is like central to all of this. A lot of the Marvel films were filmed up there. So it's just it's just one of those things where I so here's where I have to be a professional. I know that people say you don't get something unless you ask for it, and that's very true. Some you never know. The worst they can tell you is no. But I also don't want to look desperate, and I don't want to look like a stalker, because that's why I said I haven't driven. I have literally purposefully not gone by the studio during the time period I've been home, just in case like they have like I don't think they have a photo at security. like but no, if they do that, I would love it. I don't talk about it a whole lot. I had an opportunity to go to the premiere of Man of Steel, and I couldn't. So if I could do that, it would kind of make up for that.
Yeah, for sure. We'll just be careful now because you've kind of given instructions on them. All I have to do is reverse engineer what you've just said about how to get to your house. So there's people from the studio coming knocking on your door any minute now.
I just they'll see the front of the house and be, oh, this place is in a crap state. I don't know if I even want to talk there.
We've got a super chat from John Patrick Van Pelt asking, do we think we'll see any cameo appearances in the upcoming film like we have in other Superman films? It's always possible. I mean, I'm sure James Gunn has people that he'd like to put in as cameos, but as for whether or not we'll have any Superman actors cameoing, that would be interesting. I imagine that there might be. I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I let's see. Did we had Aaron Selinsky? I'm butchering that name. I apologize, Aaron. In
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel, and yeah, you had. I don't think they meant for it, but you had the Professor Hamilton from Smallville in the movie as well. But I think that was just because they were filming in Canada.
Mark McClure was there too, and I think Mark McClure, right? Was he?
Yeah, Mark McClure was in Justice League, as the police officer.
Yeah.
So they've done it there, and they had Noel Neal and Jack Larson in Superman Returns, and going back to Superman the movie, they had Kirk Allen and Noel Neal.
Yep.
So I'm James Gunn seems to. I mean, the original name of this film was Legacy, and we talked about the costume last week, and Steve and I both came to the same conclusion that it looks like they took a inspiration from all of Superman's costumes and tried to make an amalgamation of something that would that kind of honors everything
Mm.
while still being its own thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see past Superman people popping up in this film.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And Butson Enterprises is going to boycott the movie if you are not cast as an extra, Michael. So
Do not do that. I could not. They were casting extras. I'm not able to commit to that, unfortunately.
yeah,
Uh, and plus, I don't. In reading what they wanted from the extras, I'm not even sure. Like, I'm the right ethnicity for it.
fair enough.
Uh, so
I mean, you know,
it's just like I'm
if they
definitely
need
not going to try to get in on
no, well, if they need Bibbo, then you could always be in with a chance.
that.
All right, well,
Just cauliflower my ear.
let's move on. Talking about the movie, David Corenswet's personal trainer spoke with GQ magazine about the training regime the workout regime that David Corenswet has gone through to get into shape for the upcoming film. And we've seen this photo, and this image was put with the article. Paolo Meschidi is the name of the gentleman. Probably butchering that as well, but really interesting. I mean, if you're a bit of a gym junkie like I am, and I like to get in and work out, not that you can necessarily tell from my physique at the moment, more leaner than I am buff like David is, but I'm really interested to see the split that he does for his workouts, push-pull legs. So really interesting to see what routine that they did there. Pretty standard, but it seems to be working for him, and hopefully the suit, the way it is designed, will allow for his musculature to show through. I know that the way things are designed these days, they still even have to wear kind of muscle suits underneath because of the constriction of the type of material that they use, but that doesn't seem necessarily too much of a problem for this current suit because it doesn't seem to be as restrictive as, say, previous suits have, where they're more of an elastic type of thing that kind of compresses the muscles. This seems more forgiving in that regard.
Well,
Yeah,
we've said that. No. I just want to say. I mean, we've said that Superman doesn't have to be bulked out. You know,
True.
but in shape and form, sure.
Yep.
And he fits that bill.
yeah, and looking at like the before pictures, he's really put the work in on that.
Mm.
So that's very impressive.
It is. So that's good to see. So it's a really interesting read if you want to go in and have a look. But with the shirt reveal, sorry, the suit reveal, not the shirt reveal, the suit reveal, we got the obligatory memes that came out for Lazy Superman. This was one of my favorites, with him putting on, trying on the boots in a shoe shop. So that was really interesting. Very creative stuff, obviously there's the Man of Steel people, the Zack Snyder fans doing this one with Henry Cavill in the background, and then people have put different types of scenarios outside the window with from Godzilla to all different other types of interactions. They even did a Lego version. There's, obviously talking about lazy, you do Garfield as well. And they've done a Supergirl one. They've done the drunk Superman at the bar, not giving a damn of what's going on outside the windows. More shoe ones. And then we even got an illustration for the Supergirl. And again, another Godzilla one. So some very, really creative memes and people doing some really interesting things with the costume. I've seen some more salacious ones. But some really interesting memes. Lazy Superman. We had the sad Batman with Ben Affleck back in the Batman v Superman one. So it is funny, but I mean, I'm not seeing it as a lazy Superman. It's I'm with you, Michael. It looks like Superman suiting up again for round 2 or whatever he's been through. But you got to admit they are funny.
They are. Something else that people were doing that I wasn't surprised at is recoloring it and like unbattle damaging the suit and all that. It's just there's such an ease with this kind of stuff now
Yeah.
Like back in the early 2000s, it took some work to do that kind of thing, but now more people have access to photo editing software where they can insert it. I'm like you. I don't look at it as lazy, but that doesn't mean I can't look at these and go, well, that's kind of funny. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to have a sense of humor about it.
For sure. So, yeah, were there any others, Mark, that caught your eye, or
I
what
like
did
the
you think of them?
Lego one.
Yeah,
Lego one is good. The Godzilla one is kind of creepy. It's like he doesn't see what's coming, behind him. But no, I love the ones from the shoe stores. I think that that's perfect.
that is funny. So well done to those fans doing that. You can have a bit of fun and enjoy it. But I did an article at the website having a look at each of I mean, this was the first time we got to see David Corenswet in the costume, and so I went back and had a look at all the other different times that we know of that we could see the first costume reveals. And if we saw obviously the Brandon Routh ones from Superman Returns was something that we covered here on the Superman homepage. Same thing with Tyler Hoechlin's Supergirl costume and Henry Cavill's bank vault photo. But if the internet had been around, I'm sure we would have had similar comments that we've gotten when George Reeves, Christopher Reeve, Dean Cain, and others. Obviously, I don't think they ever showed Kirk Allen's costume in a press release or anything like that back in the day, but I contacted Jim Nolt for the George Reeves one and Jim Bowers for the Christopher Reeve one, and had a look online myself for what they did with Dean Cain. So read the article, have a look, and see some of the comments that were made at the time for those, and you go, wow, that just seems like it's everything that's old is new again.
I forgot what a bouffant hairdo Tyler Hoechlin had in his first Superman picture.
Yeah.
Like that is a serious, like, almost Elvis hair right there.
And he's a lot more muscular now compared to that photo
Hmm.
there. It was just like very anemic looking Superman at the time. But yeah, and I heard someone say, "Oh, you should have done the Superman costume from season one of Lois and Clark." Sorry, from Superman and Lois. And I was like, "Well, that's not the first time we saw Tyler Hoechlin in a Superman costume. It was for Supergirl." So we're
Hmm.
talking about the first time we've seen a particular actor in the Superman costume. So that was the article. So yeah, hope you enjoy that as a look back at those first reveals. All right, so that's where we're at with the movie news side of things, and we don't really have any TV side of the world of Superman this week because of the fact that Superman and Lois is still coming. The fourth season probably be around September, October. They've wrapped filming, and we've spoken about that in the past. We've spoken about season 2 of My Adventures with Superman on its way. Yeah, we'll keep you abreast of those topics as they come to light when we have more to talk about there. John Patrick Van Pelt with another super chat brought to our screen. I would like half off movie tickets if Michael Bailey is cast as an extra. Well, I mean, we can't control either of those. If Michael getting as an extra or ticket prices, but thank you, John, for that vote of confidence for Michael there. All right, well, we've got about 5 minutes to the halfway mark of tonight's show. So before we push on to doing the Superman costume analysis with Christopher Reeve's costume this week, let's have a look at, let's go for the fan favorite question. Let's do that right now. All right, Michael, what was our fan favorite question from last week?
Oh, this was a good one. It's what is your favorite Parasite cover? And Christopher Butson wrote, my favorite cover featuring Parasite is Superman number 657, with pencils by the great Carlos Pacheco, R.I.P., and inks by Jesus Marino. From Busiek's very interesting Camelot Falls storyline, it's beautifully done and supplies plenty of intrigue. Parasite looks great there, but my reasons are probably personal. My youngest sister Emily gave me this issue for Christmas in 2006. She was only 8 that year, but she knew I loved anything related to Superman, and she wanted me to have it. I already owned a copy, but there's no way in hell I'd ever tell her that. She died a few years ago, and I'd like to look at it every now and then because it reminds me of her. Very, very sorry to hear about your sister, Christopher. That's very sweet.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us, Christopher. That's very touching and very personal, so we appreciate you sharing that with us here on Superman Homepage Live. But that is a great cover with a very different type of parasite standing there. So, yeah, thank you, Christopher. Much appreciated. All right, Mark, who's up next?
Elliot Quadrado, hope I didn't mess that up, wrote, my favorite Parasite comic book cover would definitely have to be Action Comics 715 from 1995. I remember being scared for Clark as a kid back then whenever I looked at it, and the issue itself was one of those that I'd read over and over again. The character of Dr. Freeman walking around as a parasite while hearing Rudy Jones' voice in his head pulled me in as a young reader.
Yeah, cool. That was going to be my choice. I kind of sneakily showed it last week accidentally. But yeah, great cover, Elliot. I agree that is a great one. So thank you for sharing that with us. All right, next up we had Jesse Church on Twitter because I've shared this question on Twitter. Jesse said, my favorite Parasite comic book is Superman number 684. And that is a great one from the Faces of Evil line of comic covers that they did. So thank you, Jesse, for sharing that one with us.
Dave's Comic Heroes blog wrote, my favorite Parasite cover is 1978's Superman number 322. That is a good one.
Yeah, the Parasite in a duel to the death. The weapon? Laser vision. Oh, there you go, Parasite with laser vision. Very nice. Thank you, Dave.
And I don't know if it's Karen or Karan at Wall wrote, these two Parasite covers are my favorites, Superman 715 and Superman Secret Origin number 4.
Yeah, thank you, Karan. That is an interesting Superman Secret Origin one. A very flabby Parasite. So thank you there. Michael, you have a favorite or couple?
Yeah, a couple because Adventures of Superman number 482, which was one of the one of the ones that came out shortly after Superman the Man of Steel happened. I found out years later was a homage to an Action Comics cover. So if I was going to choose one, I kind of had to choose the other because one's Neil Adams and one's Jerry Ordway, and both are masters. So I just really like it. The interesting thing about the Adventures of Superman one is this is when Parasite went back to being a Superman villain. Because right after, in the post-crisis era, he started out as a Firestorm bad guy, and he was green. And he was in an issue of Starman, where he fought Superman and Starman. But I think this is like when he first really popped into the Superman books proper.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a great find. So thank you for that. I didn't get to ask you, Mark, but did you have a favorite or any of those stuck out to you?
Well, it's hard to say. I think that classic one from what was it? That might be from 78, 322. I like that one.
Yeah, very nice.
That's a classic one. And the one
Yeah.
and the one that you like too. I was at 715. I like that one too.
Yeah, very cool. So thank you everyone for participating in the fan favorite question for our show, especially those people on Twitter who responded to that comment, that question. So thank you for getting involved. And Mark, what is our new fan favorite question for this week?
New fan favorite question is, what is your favorite General Zod comic book cover?
Yeah, so it's General Zod's turn. Get involved in the fan favorite question of our show. All you have to do is send an email to info@supermanhomepage.com. That's info@supermanhomepage.com. And we will read out the responses to your favorite General Zod comic book cover when we return to this segment next week. All right, we're at the halfway mark of tonight's show. We're going to take a quick break, play some messages, and come back to do the Superman costume analysis of Christopher Reeve's costume. We've also got This Week in History and a bit more. So stick with us. We're back right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Attention, Superman fans. Superman glasses are coming to Taco Bell.
That's right. Taco Bell is offering Superman glasses.
With exciting scenes from the movie. There's 6 of them. Every time you buy a medium-sized Pepsi-Cola, you can buy a Superman glass. But supplies are limited, so hurry down to your Taco Bell and start your own collection of Superman glasses.
Superman glasses, now only at Taco Bell.
And we're back on Superman Homepage Live, where it's time to do our Superman costume analysis, looking at Christopher Reeve's costume. We were supposed to do this last week, but we got the David Corenswet costume, so we did that then. And now we move on to the 1978 classic Superman the movie and Christopher Reeve's costume there. And this is not going to be a difficult one to cover, so let's get through it. Let's start with the cape, and firstly, it's got the S on the back, so everybody's happy, and it's what everyone kind of imagines the S to be. It's a yellow and black version of it, with the black outline. I know it's not necessarily always got to be there, but fans always point out when it's not. So, Michael, you're happy with the S on the back?
Oh yeah, this is what I think of when I think of the S on the back in live action. The George Reeves had it, but it was the same. The S was the same color as the cape, which was an interesting look. But this is just pops. It's. I think this is why they used that particular bit of animation in Smallville years later.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I absolutely love this. Of all of the suits that have had the S on the cape, this is my favorite.
And Mark, we look at the way that the cape attaches to the shoulders. This is my favorite way of having it, where it's tucked in underneath the collar and then drapes over regally over the shoulders. Your thoughts on that part of the cape?
That will, like you said, under the shoulders. That's that's classic Superman. I think it's the right length. It's not, it could be longer or short. It's just where it should be. Of course, I love the yellow S on the back. I mean, that's just, when I was an 8-year-old kid, that's to me this was Superman, and that so that yellow S on the back is just so recognizable.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's just a red piece of cloth hanging from his shoulders. But I love the length of the cape here. It kind of comes halfway down through the calf muscle area, which I think is the perfect length. It's not too short, not too long. So we have a pretty good cape, I think we all agree. And then we look at the body of the costume. This is the spandex. This is the lycra that most people are after when they're talking about a Superman costume. Has a little bit of a cuff there on the, but I mean that's just more for the sake of you've got to do something when you're stitching something together. It can't just not have anything, otherwise it doesn't. It just starts to fray. But very simple. There are no lines. There are no designs. It is a testament to Christopher Reeve's physique that he was able to pull this off with really nothing else.
Yeah, I always liked the little cuff at the end of the sleeves. I don't know why when they brought the traditional suit back with Action Comics 1000 and they added those little bracelets, I was a little annoyed. But I always liked this. I guess it's kind of grandfathered in. It's funny that with all the discussions of the new suit and people saying why can't they just do this, I don't know how well it would look in HD, but I think it's a sharp looking costume, and I think they managed to not only make us believe a man could fly, but they also managed to make us believe that somebody could wear that outfit and it not look silly.
Yeah, exactly. And Mark, the fact that it's very simple as far as just blue material, it does just screams Superman. There's nothing more to it. It's just straightforward. There aren't any embellishments, that like they want to do today. But it's just classic, kind of just very simple, straightforward.
Yeah,
you could
absolutely.
see Martha sewing this together.
Yes, you can. Even though I don't think she did in the movie, but anyway. No. But yeah, it is, and also, and I don't want to say it's gimmicky, but later on, they had like little S's to make up all the S and little S's on the costume, and this and that, and it's like fine, but that's not needed. I mean, this is just it's the right color, the right material. Just you don't need anything extra on this.
Yeah, and interestingly, the color was an issue for the blue screen that they used in 1977 when they were filming this, because they didn't have green screen; they were using blue screen. And so, in some versions of the film that you've seen, especially uncolor corrected, it's very turquoise. But here, it's the perfect color. And then you've got the S shield. If you're going to point anything about this costume not being 100% perfect, the S is very rough. In its not the classic S that we've the trademark S, but it's still very much the S. It's more, I don't know, it's not rough in that it's just kind of not symmetrical, if you like.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt that way about it, that it looks hand cut.
Yeah.
Like they didn't use any kind of tool. Well, but obviously they had to use some kind of tools to get it all together. It's always been the part of the costume that distracts me at times, because different versions of the costume, the S seemed to kind of shift a little bit. There wasn't one single vision of it, but I think that just speaks to the fact that it was made by hand. So and they're stitching it onto spandex, which I'm sure presented its own problems. But yeah, I'm kind of with you, Steve. It always looked a little like Martha literally made that for him to put on the chest.
And the thing is, it comes from Krypton. It's not necessarily an S. It is the House of L symbol, and we saw other symbols on Jor-El's comrades there in the Science Council, but obviously it is an S to us. But yeah, that was the only thing. Mark, are you with us, or are you a big fan of this style of S?
I've always really liked this S. I mean, I always felt it was as close to the comics as they can get. I do think, and maybe I'm wrong, I do think maybe it's a little too large.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, because I don't like a small S, but at the same time, it just looking at it the way we're looking at it, I mean, it just it just looks very big to me.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just
I can see that.
I don't know.
I understand.
If you look, like, we'll use the comics. You look in the comics, you can tell it's a little bit smaller.
Okay,
But
interesting. Yeah,
unfortunately, certain versions they went too small.
yeah,
But
true.
other than that, I've always loved the S.
All right, then we move on to the trunks. To me, these are the perfect style that you would want for the Superman costume. The red trunks, yellow belt buckle, straightforward. There's nothing much to it. And I know there was a lot of discussion about the cod piece underneath, but to me these are the trunks, straightforward.
Yeah, no notes there. I always loved the way the belt buckle looked, and that's what Byrne drew on his version of Superman as well. It's right out of the comics, so yeah, no complaints here.
Mark, any
Same here.
comments? No, same. Okay.
Same here. This is just the classic trunks, the way I always remember them, the way I always, probably like to see them in most versions. It's just this just is Superman for me.
Yeah, agreed. All right, then we look at the boots here. They probably go up a little bit higher than, or maybe they just stick out a lot more than, doesn't really form fit to his calf muscles, and maybe that's a design of the material. But I love the way that they're shaped, and the way that there's a V shape at the beginning, at the top of it on the shin area, and the boots in general just look pretty good, but maybe just a little bit high for me, a little bit lower probably, but all in all, I can't complain about the boots, Michael.
It's funny you say that, because I think that's the right length for the boots. I mean, if you look at like Brandon Routh's costume from the Crisis episodes, the boots there look a little short, or shorter than they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I always liked the boots, because you got to kind of see that they weren't like stockings, basically.
Right.
Which is
okay.
what, when we were kids, what we would use. Like the scene where he's standing on the building and we see it from the vantage point of his feet. You could see, oh, these are actual shoes, and not like just something that was kind of stitched together to make it look like a boot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Steve, I could see where you're saying that it seems a little bit higher, but it also depends on the size of the actor too, I think. So I like the boot. I mean, this costume as a whole, I mean, I've just never had any real problem with it.
Yeah.
We can nitpick, but beyond that, I mean, really never had problems with the boots.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, and then you got Christopher Reeve himself, the face, the hair. That's the perfect hairstyle for me as far as Superman is concerned. The waviness of his hair, whether there's a wig on or not. I know he did wear wigs in some of the films. It's just a natural S there falling on his forehead. It doesn't look, forced at all. And look, the man himself, it's the square jaw, the blue eyes, the good looks, the great smile. Like you just even at the end of the movie there, where he looks at the camera and smiles, it's just enough to now knowing what the poor man went through, that it brings a tear to the eye.
My favorite thing about the hair is that it was obvious that they were kind of going from the Neil Adams kind of look for the character, if they were looking at the comics, because he's got sideburns.
Yes.
and I know that's a little thing, but that it's one of the few things that both dates and makes this kind of timeless. I always loved the way his hair looked. I love the S curl. He's got the strong jawline. He's got very blue eyes that were contacts, but at least they went that far, and like some Superman. But yeah, he was like his face. You looked at that and you thought, yes, that looks exactly like Superman.
Yep.
There's not much to say for me. This is Christopher Reeve. This is, I mean, the curl it's not obvious, but it's a Superman curl, the hair, the eyes, everything. I mean, when I first saw this guy when I was a kid, I was like, wow, that is Superman. And I still agree with that. There's nothing wrong with this look at all.
Agreed. So if I'm going to give it a rating out of 10, for me, it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, same. 9 out of 10.
I'm giving it a solid 10.
Cool. There you go. All right, well, that's the Christopher Reeve Superman costume analysis. Hope you enjoyed that, folks. We move on next week to look at Dean Cain's Superman costume, and there were a few kind of variations there, so we'll try to pick out the best and touch on that next week. So I hope you enjoyed that. All right, let's move on. Let's do This Week in History, Michael. Here is your intro. Let's go.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
This is one of those weeks where it starts out very slow and then gets very heavy as the years go on, because we jump all the way to 1964 for the first one with Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 50. Lois Lane's plot against Lana Lang because, she was jealous. And they look like they're just having a good time. So I think Lois is being kind of mean here. Jumping all the way to 1984, we have Superman number 398. This is one of my favorite covers from the 80s, just because I think I just love the kid doing the little shirt rip and the way Superman's kind of flying over him. Then we go to 1994, and this is where, because of Worlds Collide, recently reprinted in the Milestone Compendium, you had Hardware number 17, which guest starred Steel. You also had the Steel Annual number 1, which was set in roughly Civil War era, which was a interesting way to take that character. We also, for Worlds Collide, we have Superboy number 6, where Superboy is fighting the Parasite. So,
wow!
Yeah,
you think we planned it?
Yeah, that was a good serendipity there. We're going to say we planned it, and we're just going to try to look smart. We also have Superman, the Man of Steel, number 35, which is not only Worlds Collide, but it's also part of the Fall of Metropolis. And this is, I think, where people think that Superman had a mullet in the 90s. Because if you look at this cover of Wonder Woman number 88, that's a mullet. That's a mullet.
Yeah,
that is a definite mullet. Brian Bolland did not get the memo that it was just long hair, but whatever, that's fine. It's still a pretty solid cover. Jumping ahead to 2004, do not look directly into the mullet, folks. You will go blind. We have Action Comics number 815. We're into the controversial Chuck Austin run of the book. Man, that brings back memories. JLA number 98, which is leading up, which was the Chris Claremont and John Byrne one, which I remember being really boring. I did not care for that one. Smallville number 8, which of course has a photo cover of Michael Rosenbaum there, Lex Luthor inmate. That makes you want to buy it. And Teen Titans number 11, mentioning Teen Titans, of course, because Superboy was a member at the time. And then 2014, we have Action Comics number 31, which is part of the Doomed storyline. Very nice cover of Doomsday kind of reaching out, trying to grab Superman as he's changing. Smallville Lantern number 2. This is part of the Smallville season 11 series. This was one of the side little mini-series that they did. Superboy number 31, which I have no memory of at all.
Parasite again.
And another Parasite on a Superboy cover. What the heck? Yeah. What is going on here? Notice that nobody chose this one as their favorite Parasite cover, probably because no one was reading Superboy by this point. Then we had Superman Doomed number 1. Man, remember when we were all really excited for this?
Yeah.
It was a time, wasn't it? And Superman Wonder Woman number 8, which is, of course, part of the Doomed storyline. I think. Is it? Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
it
it
is.
says doomed at the top there.
Is anyone really paying attention at this point to the Superman title? No, this was. I remember Steve and I talking about this back on the radio KAL days because we were pretty excited that they were doing a big storyline. But like all of the New 52 big storylines, it started strong and then ended on a really weak note. So and then like in the middle of it, like convergence happens or something like that. It's all really strange.
All fell apart.
Really goes down.
In the real world, both of these happened on the same day. Unfortunately, on May 13th, 2018, Margot Kidder passed away, which I remember us talking about. What is that? 6 years ago, and then. On a more happy note, Marv Wolfman is celebrating his birthday today. He was born in 1946, wrote pre-crisis and post-crisis Superman, plus the novelization to the Superman Returns movie, plus the Man in Superman thing that Steve has there, which was amazing when it finally got released. And that is it for this week in history.
There you go. Thank you, Michael. That's, Marv Wolfman. Happy birthday, Marv. A great man and has been a great Superman contributor for many, many years, as you stated, Michael. So there you go. All right. Well, let's have a look what's going on elsewhere in the world of Superman. On the movie front, last week we played the preview for the Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, which is coming our way. But this is the Steelbook for the 4K Ultra HD release, and then there's the Blu-ray as well, and then there's the collection of what you can see inside the 4K Ultra HD. And that will bring to a close the trilogy of Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths. There's Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3, with Superman carrying the body of Supergirl on the third and final part of this trilogy, which will close out the Tomorrowverse animated universe. And Part 3 will be hitting our stores, our screens, if you like, digitally on July 16th, and then will be available July 23rd on physical media. So you can order that through our website, and if you do use the links at our website, it's a great way to support the website because we get a kickback from the purchase at no extra cost to you. So it's a great way to make sure you can support Superman homepage. Are we looking forward to this one? I still haven't seen Part 1 or Part 2.
I've seen Part 1.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Part 1. I haven't. I've seen Part 1. I haven't gotten Part 2 yet, but no, I'm looking forward to the whole thing.
Very cool. All right, well, that's sorry, yes, Michael.
I was just going to say I was excited to see Superman on the cover until I realized he was holding the body of Supergirl, so that kind of took the wind out of my sails on that one.
Yeah, there you go. All right, also on the movie side of things, but on the soundtrack side of things, Mondo released the announcement of this, or re-release of their vinyl collection of Superman the Movie soundtrack, and that's the QR code if you want to order that there. This is combined with Superman 78 graphic novel in a box set. It's initially debuted at New York Comic Con last year, but a wider release is coming from Mondo with a Metropolis Swirl version of their vinyl. And that's the kind of the way the box sits. There's the Metropolis Swirl vinyl is an exclusive variant to Mondo, but you will be able to purchase it through other places like Entertainment Earth. And as I said, that is the QR code on your screen if you are interested in ordering this 140-gram vinyl collection with artwork by DKNG and liner notes by Michael Matessino. And obviously the graphic novel is written by Robert Venditti with Wilfredo Torres doing the art inside. And it's an awesome looking collection.
I'm a little disappointed that they didn't bring back the laser etched S symbols like they did for the original Superman 2 vinyl release back in 1981. We've got the technology, but the Metropolis swirl, I guess, is just as good.
Just as
Actually,
good.
it isn't, but still.
Yes, I don't have a record player anymore, but I know my mum still has one. So yeah, vinyl is on its. Has made a resurgence in recent years like crazy.
I had to
Well,
a couple years ago at work. I had to explain things about it because we got record players in for some reason. Because when you think of an
Yeah.
office supply store, of course you think of a record player, and they had the little thing for the 45 that you put in the on the in the middle, and they're like,
Mhm.
"What's that?" I go, "It's for a 45," and they're like, "What's that?" I go, "Well, back in the day, they had singles. It was a 45. It was like one song on one side, one song on the other. Well, why would you do that? Well, that's just it was like I can't explain it. And well, why is it called a 45? Well, it's because and then at like the end of it, I was just like telling about 78s and singles and CD singles, and it just like these kids are in their 20s, so they it just kind of blew their minds. It's like, why can't you just wrap your head around the fact that this is the model back then?
Yep.
It was kind of it was part history lesson, part stand up act by the end of it, really.
Very cool. Yeah, it revolved at 45 RPMs, revolutions per minute.
45. Yep.
There you go. And then there was a 33 and a third for the larger ones. So we're showing our age. All right. A good friend of ours, Ed Gross, has put together with Robert Greenberger a definitive collection. I don't know if we've spoken about this last week or not, but I don't think we did. And if we did, it deserves speaking again. But the definitive history of Superman is coming out as a slipcase hardcover collection that just looks awesome. I know Ed. He's a great scholar of all things Superman, and if he is involved in this, then this is a immediate purchase. It is going to be an awesome read. I know we've had definitive histories of Superman and things, many history books, but this looks like something that is a must purchase for any Superman fan wanting to know about the Man of Steel's history. I know that people say, how can it be the definitive history if we've got a new movie coming out? There's always new stuff coming out. You have to write a book at some point in time about something. But this looks amazing, and I wish Ed the best of luck with the sales in this, because this looks amazing.
Yeah, once I saw that Ed was involved, and Robert Greenberger, former DC editor, came in, I think, for the inserts. It's just, it's kind of he's gotten to do the Alpha and the Omega, really, because he did the Voices from Krypton book, which was an oral history, which is that's a different beast. That's more of a personal take. This is more of a definitive, like straightforward version, and you can get into things that he wasn't able to get into with the last one. So I guess if you have both, you basically have the most comprehensive looks at the history of Superman ever.
Yeah, here's the thing. I want this really bad, but I also wanted to get the DC versus Marvel collection, and I'm like, I can't get all three of them, so I have to settle with. I have to settle with the Kindle version, which I know is not going to be as dynamic, and I know there's certain things that are in the in the book and all that you can't get on Kindle, but at least I'll be able to read read the oral history and all that. But no, I mean this is just beautiful. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we do hope to get Ed on at one point to help promote the release of this book once it gets closer. But that brings us to the end of tonight's show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live. Thank you to my co-hosts, Michael Bailey and Mark Lax. Thanks, guys.
Pleasure as always, guys.
And us guys will be back next week on Monday, May 20th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. Thank you to our sponsors, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray, and thank you to everyone in the the comments there who watched the show live with us tonight. We appreciate your company. Thank you for being with us. But until then, take care. Good night. See you next week.